words is so dead. Faith without words is so dead. God, I bring you the faith, then you give me that work. Yo, that faith without words is so dead. Faith without words is so dead. Faith without words is so dead. I got swag with my faith, swag with my faith. I got swag with my faith, cause I'm saved by that grace. I got swag with my faith.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Philly TF, and you already know what it is. I know some of you like doing this, boy. I didn't woke just now getting up. Look, you already know that if you watching this and I'm before your eyes, man, then you already know we done made it to, right? Yeah, that's right. It's another episode of No Fear Friday. Hey, so look, man, I got some good stuff for you today. What I need you to understand is that you're a David and not a Goliath. And what do I mean? Where do I get that from? Well, if you're familiar with the book of the Bible, you know the story of David and Goliath. Little David took out big Goliath with like a stone, cut his head off. But I want to give you some principles and some applications that can help you in your life. So first, I need you to recognize this, that there's a battle, there's a war between your success and your giving up. Notice I didn't say failure. I said you're giving up. Because see, listen, when you fail, that means you tried. But when you give up, you eliminated success. So where does that come from? Why are we so prone and reluctant to give up? Well, it's because of fear. We're intimidated by fear. We're going to look at a few scriptures here, man, to kind of help us understand where I'm coming from with this. So when we look at the story of the children of Israel with David and Goliath, first they were in fear because the giant said to them, and let me read it to you real quick. He says, if you have a person that's able to fight me and kill me, then we will become your servants. But if I prevail against who you send out for me to fight and I kill him, then you shall become our servants and serve us. Again, the giant said, I defy the ranks of Israel. So he's being disrespectful. He's like, I don't respect y'all. We're going to kill you. We're going to take your land. We're going to take your women, take your children. So he's talking all this recklessness to him. He says, give me a man that we may fight together. So when the king of Israel saw, when he heard this and the army heard this, they became greatly afraid. So now fear, because of words, have gripped them. So how do we get to that David-like confidence, that David-like level, that potential? Well, first, we got to be nosy. David went out and seen what was going on in the battle. So look at verse 28. It says, his brother heard when he spoke to the men, and his anger burned against David. And he said, why have you come down? You're a keeper of the sheep. Like, what are you doing? You're not in army. You're not in a war. You don't have no gear. What are you doing down here? And then he says, whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your insolence and the wickedness of your heart, for you have come down in order to see the battle. So yes, you got to go be nosy. You got to go research. You got to go look at the opposition. Just like in your life, you got to look at what's going on in front of you. You got to scout, search, research. Just like taking a test. You real confident if you study for a whole week, you know what you're going up against. If you take an ACT, SAT, you know what you're going up against. So, second, you got to prepare. David prepared. It says in verse 20 that he rose early in the morning. Some of you got to get up early to get to the spot. When you get to your job, it's a hard thing to just get there on time, because as soon as you get there, it's straight to it. But when you early, you get to be prepared, which brings me to my next point. He had a made-up mind. Some of us got to have our minds made up. You're going to go to school, stick to it, go to school. You're going to be an entrepreneur, stick to it, be an entrepreneur. Prepare yourself for it. Read, research, study, grind. You know what I'm saying? This is what eliminates giving up. This is what helps you fail to succeed. There ain't nothing wrong with failing as long as you learn from it and you can use it to get to the next level. And then lastly, you have to remember what makes you great. Remember what it is that you've done before in the past has made you great. So let's look at David real quick. We look at verse 33. He said to the king, he said that your servant was attending his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and took a lamb from the flock, I went out after him and attacked him and rescued him from his mouth. And when he rose up against me, I seized him by his beard and struck him and killed him. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. So think about it like this. David, like, look, I've got into it with animals. I didn't kill the bear. I didn't kill the lion. This giant ain't going to be no different. That's how you have to be in your life. You got to think like, well, what makes me great? You know, so in your marriage, if it's on the rocks, if it's not, you know, going as promised or as good, and you in like your 5th, 6th year, you got to remember what was great about year 1. You got to remember what was great about during your engagement. You got to remember what was great about during your courting, and then you bring that to fruition. That gives you confidence going forward in this battle or this war you in. Just like a person that might play basketball and might want to be going D1. Well, he got to remember how good he was in high school. He got to remember how good he was in AAU. Same with your life. When you in school and you trying to get to the next level, trying to get that master's, that doctorate, well, remember what it took to get your bachelor's. Remember how great you was to get your associate. Draw back on those memories. Draw back on what makes you great, what you have accomplished, what feats you have achieved. Okay? So look, we need to understand that in this process that sometimes we're the wrong type of giant. We're the giant like Goliath. You know, we all bark and no bite. You know, the Goliath was talking reckless, talking all this mess, but no bite. David, here he is, you know what I'm saying? Less bark, all bite. So I want to give you 4 things that you can reaffirm with yourself, that you can say to yourself. First of all, recognize that you are a champion. Okay, you got to know that. You might didn't know that when you woke up this morning. I just told you. You are a champion. You're a winner. Second, you have to realize that you need to accept the challenge. Life is a challenge. Goals to accomplish are a challenge. Being an entrepreneur is a challenge. You have to accept it though, because when you accept it, then now you sold, you full in. David told Saul, he said in verse 32, let no man's hearts fail on account of him, talking about the giant. Your servant will go out and fight with this Philistine. So he like, look, I'm in, Saul. I'm going to go out, tell all the men, don't worry, I got him. You put the weight on your back, you put your city on your back, you put your kids on your back, you put your family on your back. I got us, you gonna go out and do it. Third, get hungry for the prize. Know that the success, what the results is what drives you, what fuels you. That's your passion. Be hungry for the results. Know what's to come at the end. When Usain Bolt, when he racing, he ain't worried about what's before the race. He worried about hitting that finish line, breaking that world record. That's the hunger that drives him. You got to have that in you as well. And then fourth, kill the giant with confidence. Now, you know Goliath was huge. Bronze helmet, big sword. He had a person carrying his shield. So David says to him in verse 45, he says, you come to me with a sword, a spear, a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have taunted. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands. So David's full of confidence. He's like, look, you coming with all this stuff. I come in the name of the Lord. I'm coming to take you out. And it's going to happen because, see, he believed it here first. You got to know you a champion here first before you do anything outwardly. So listen, man, I just come to you today knowing that I want you to know that you are a David and not a Goliath. And the day is another day that you ain't got to live in fear, man. So it's your boy, Philly TF. Follow me on Snapchat, Philly TF, Instagram, Philly TF. I got the dope EP online right now, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon. Holla at your boy. Be blessed. And we going to turn up in Michigan this weekend with my boy, James White. You already know what it is, man. Holla. Cheer.
Then you give me that work, yo, that pay for that words is so damn. Pay for that words is so damn. Pay for that words is so damn. I got swag with my faith, swag with my faith. I got swag with my faith, cause I'm saved by that grace. I got